Welcome to lesson 8 in our chess journey. We're now very familiar with all of the chess pieces, pawns, rooks, bishops, knights, queens, kings. You're familiar with the little mini games you could play. You may even have played some games with all of the pieces, following our lessons on the king and all the strange things to do with checkmate and stalemate. Now we're going to show you one or two special moves in this lesson and also lesson number 9. There are more special ones to come as well, but these are the very basics to get you up and running as quickly as possible. If we look at this position, we know that both kings are on the board because we can't capture kings. We know that from the previous lesson. They have to be on the board still. And we've got one pawn each. The white pawn on d7, the black pawn on h5. We know now that to win the game of chess, we have to checkmate the opponent's king. And in our mini games, if you think back to those, we won by blocking things, taking things, or getting pawns at the end of the board. So what happens in this position if white moves his pawn forward one square? It doesn't win the game. It might help him win the game, but it doesn't win the game like it did for a mini game. Something very special happens to a pawn when it gets to the end of the board. It's a really good thing to know. It's called pawn promotion. The pawn goes on to become something bigger and better. Let's see what happens. The pawn goes to the end of the board and it can turn into a queen. We know the queen's the strongest piece of all. So for a pawn to make its way all the way to the end of the board very slowly, moving one square at a time, to get all the way to the end is a fantastic achievement for a little pawn, and the reward is to turn into a magnificent queen. In fact, you don't have to get a queen. You could get a queen, a rook, a bishop, or a knight. You can't promote your pawn to become a king. You can only ever have one king each. And of course, there's no point getting another pawn. Where would it go? Can't start going backwards. And here we go. We can now see that white's winning this game. And the queen will make a lot of difference. For example, if black moves the pawn forward to try and get a queen of his own, the queen, using her immense power, can easily take care of that, leaving the black king defenseless. Once you've practiced how to get checkmate a little bit more, you soon see that this is an easy way for white to win. Queen and the king against a king is an easy checkmate. Just needs a little bit of practice, which we will return to in another video. Sometimes pawn promotion is so powerful it's checkmate immediately. In this position, the black king is in a bad way. The black king can't move onto the same line as the rook because of the rook's power cutting him off. So if we could checkmate the king, we'd win the game. And the way to do this is not to check with a rook, because then the king could escape. We can promote our pawn to become a queen. And we can see the white queen is now attacking the king. So it's checking the king, and the king cannot escape from the back line because he's going to walk straight into the rook's power. And you may remember from the previous lesson that this makes it checkmate. White wins. White has checkmated the black king, all thanks to the pawn promotion. We mentioned earlier, you don't have to get a queen. Sometimes it's best to get something else. Take a look at this position. It's white's move. White can promote the pawn by moving it to f8. This is where I'm going to say a little test. You've got to try and work this out at home. If we move our pawn to f8 to do pawn promotion, which piece should we get? Should we get a queen, a rook, a bishop, or a knight? Which is the best one to get? Have a little think. Well, if we get a queen, we've unfortunately placed black into stalemate. You may remember from the previous lesson that if the king cannot move anywhere without placing himself into check, he's got nothing else to move, this is stalemate. It's a draw. Black's escaped with a very unlikely draw from what looks like a terrible position. So well done, black. White was a little bit careless there. Let's see what else he can try. What if he promotes the pawn to a rook? Well, the same thing has happened. If you look very carefully, you will see that the black king cannot move anywhere without placing himself into check. Trying to work out which pieces defend which squares. And never forget, of course, that the kings cannot move next to each other. So even though there's no queen there to protect h6, the white king stops the black king moving there. So that's not going to work either. That's stalemate again. What else can we try? Let's try a bishop. Oh dear. Once again, we've placed the black king into stalemate from a position where we should have won quite comfortably. So we've got to try again. There's only one thing left to try. We can't get a king, we can't get a pawn, we've tried a queen, a rook and a bishop. They all ended in stalemate. Let's try the knight. And this time, the knight is checking the king. If the king tries to go to h8, he's under attack by the bishop. Just showing that. If he tries to go to g8, or g7, he's in check by the bishop and the rook on g7, g8 by the rook, and once again, he can't go to h6 because of the white king. He's not allowed next to the king. It's almost like there's a force field between the two kings, keeping them apart. So by promoting to a knight instead of a queen or a bishop or a rook, we have checkmated the black king. Now if you promote your pawn to anything other than a queen, it's known as under promotion. You've promoted not to the best or most powerful piece, but something slightly weaker. But just sometimes that's the best thing to do. So it's important to keep your thoughts very flexible, to look at all the options before you commit yourself. And that's all about pawn promotion. In the next lesson, lesson number 9, we're going to show you a way to try and get your king as safe as possible early in the game. But meanwhile, remember all about pawn promotion and try that in your own games. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you soon for lesson number 9.